What's good, YouTube? This your man Spill Dog. Just looking at how things been lately, especially in the welterweight division and the lightweight division. They yeah, but mostly the welterweight and the lightweight division is starting to the fights look like they starting the big fights is close to being made. But this is why Errol Spence was loved so much by the fans. Before he got his titles, he was making it clear he wanted Keith Thurman at the time, but Keith wouldn't fight. Once he got his belt from Kell Brook, Earl Spence made it clear he wasn't fighting no tune-ups. He wasn't fighting none of these set-up fights like these dudes doing. He fought all the guys was at least in the top five. Everybody he fought for the time he got his championship. Yeah, all of them. He fought Lamont Peterson. He fought Mikey Garcia. He fought Ocampo, who was undefeated. He fought Danny Garcia. He fought Sean Porter. He fought Ugas. He fought Terrence Crawford. He fought real fights. And truth be told, by the time he fought Bud, he had been through the accident, had started, drinking and partying a little bit too much. But even still, when he wasn't all the way himself, he still went out there and picked the best man out there to fight and got in the ring with him. This is why he always have a fan base. This is why, regardless to whether some people might think he ain't got it no more or not, don't make no difference. He's still gonna have a big, healthy fan base behind him because what he always gave his fans, real fights, bottom line. And to be honest with you, if I'm being straight up real with it, in this generation, and these two about to go, it was only two fighters left, maybe three with AJ, but I'm gonna say in the United States, Errol Spence, Errol Spence and Lomachenko, them was the only two dudes. Once they got titles, once they got in a top spot, that refused to fight them setup fights. They fought contenders only. They did not fight dudes that was, that you knew who was gonna win the fight before the fight started. Sean Porter came out there and gave Earl a hell of a fight. Danny Garcia put up a good fight. Ugas gave Earl a hell of a fight. Kell Brook and Earl, they went to war for that belt. Mikey Garcia, he took a long beating that night, but Mikey Garcia was at the top of his game at that time. They was talking about him as one of the pound for pound best in boxing at the time. He didn't go out here fighting this garbage. Even now, he calling out Fundora. And these dudes ain't like that. These cats is not willing to go out there and fight them type of fights back to back to back to back to back. If you get a good fight like that out of one of them, it'll be a couple of years before you get another one. That, and it's really been just like that. And they love to get out there grinning and laughing and putting on like they really coming to fight somebody when they know. Before they sign the paper, when they see certain dude's name, they already know what it's going to be. I mean, everybody already know what it is, really. People just, sometimes think people lie to themselves just so they could, because they want to see the fight and to make themselves think it's a real fight going on. But most of these fights we getting are not fights. They just events. It's just a talented fighter getting out there with somebody way up under his level so he can look good and put on a show for the fans. Wrestling, basically. This is why I don't like seeing Earl inactive like he is, but I will have to rock with him if he come out there and fight, because one thing I do know, he not going to go out here and pick nobody like Berlanga or nobody that far beneath his level to go out there and fight. He ain't going to do it. He been said that he don't fight them setup fights, and Keith Thurman, my man, but he was king of the tune-up. He always want to tune up. Keith Thurman, if he fought twice, he was gonna have a tune up. Then the next year have a real fight. Sit out a year and a half, need a tune up. I mean that was Keith's thing. You know why? Because he was getting top dollar for them tune ups. And once again, that's what and that ain't me taking no shot at Keith. That's just me keeping it a buck. I like Keith Thurman, but he was on that bad. Maneuvering around smoke. Fighting guys that he felt like you know, the guys that he really felt in his heart he knew he could beat. When Earl and Bud fought, regardless of what each one, everybody gonna think they can win, but they both inside knew they could lose. That was a real 50-50 fight. When Earl fought Sean Porter, at that time Sean was Sean. And I think that fight is what really. That was the last hurrah for him because they fought. That was a long, hard fight. Earl almost lost that fight. Sean Porter was in that fight to the very end. If it wasn't for that knockdown, Earl might have lost that fight. That was a real fight. And ain't nothing, that's what it's supposed to be. You ain't supposed to be going in there sparring, with a guy that doing whatever you want to do. That ain't no fight. That's a beat down. And I just know, just seeing how things going, like I hear a lot of guys like I like Brian Norman. I'm just really, over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, really getting to see who he is, and I like what I see. I didn't think he was ready for Boots, and people got to remember, Brian Norman and his father did not reach out trying to fight Jerron Ennis. They sent the contract to them. So that's the only reason I get him a pass to some degree about getting in the ring with Boots. But, when they say he ain't fought nobody, well, he ain't fought nobody for the same reason he ain't fighting your son. Everybody want way more money. If he ain't like that, then why would a guy take less money to fight somebody else? that tell you everything you need to know right there. And I felt like Brian Norman ain't on that level yet. He got a belt, but I felt like if they would have fought Ennis, they were selling a belt. That's what I was looking at when I heard it, because I was thinking that might be a fight he could have maybe 2 or 3 fights down the road, but I felt like he needed at least 1 or 2 real good fights with real good competition before he go in there and try to fight with Boots. That was my thought before that whole thing came up. If you go back and look at my videos when he got the title, I was more so looking for him to fight. This ain't disrespect to Brian Norman, but I just thought that these were the right fights. Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. I was looking for him to, fight one of them dudes. That was where I thought he should start that route before he go to the top of the food chain at 147. So I never really was all that interested in Brian Norman and Boots fighting. It felt good to hear somebody talking like they really want to fight like that, but that's more talk than really wanting to fight. This is why the money situation went like it went, honestly, and it's all good because once again, they didn't call him. They didn't call Boots. Boots called them. So I don't blame Pops. How bad y'all want to fight? Because that ain't really on our radar. I'm thinking that's what Brian Norman father had, is that this was not the direction we want to go, but we can go this direction if you do woo woo woo, which you kind of know they ain't gonna do, and so I'm not shooting a shot at them necessarily. Only thing, it might seem like that because they've been vocal, talking like they really want to fight that boy like that. And it all sounds good, but he not ready for Boots yet. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of reasons why I don't like that fight for Brian Norman, right? Especially right now, with his height, reach, experience level, all that. I just think, boom, pump your brakes a little bit, and like I said, it's a lot of better, it's a lot of more winnable fights for him out there. Let him win a few fights and enjoy the belt for a little while before you go in there with the best guy in the division. That's how I felt in that situation. But it's guys like Stanionis and what's the boy Virgil Ortiz, Terrence Crawford. I would say Spence, but I can't say him because he ain't fighting. So I mean, he ain't been in the ring. We don't know what really gonna happen with him. But the guys that's active, I mean, once again, like I said, it was a time where it wasn't no way the champion would just relinquish their belt and not fight. That just wouldn't happen at some times ago. The way the torch had always been passed is just like Floyd fought Oscar, Sugar Ray, and when Terry Norris came back. Sugar Ray was kind of out of it, but it was like Terry Norris closed that door for good. It's usually with Felix Trinidad. I think what was it, Bernard Hopkins or Roy Jones Jr. One of them sent him packing. That's usually how this thing go. The best fight the best, and like Floyd Manny Pacquiao. That's usually how this thing go. I mean, once again, these guys that made a living off not fighting, guys. I mean, they have made a good living off not fighting the best guy at why he at his best. I mean, it ain't, they don't have no shame no more. They really don't. And once again, Floyd is my man, but a lot of these guys have been following his lead, and they only, but to see they following the lead at the end of his career. And he said that himself when Floyd was young, before he messed his hands up. Floyd was out there knocking everybody out like Tank now, but with a little bit more finesse and a little bit better consistent competition that he was fighting, and Tank, my man, that ain't me taking no shot. I'm just saying, Floyd was knocking everybody out once upon a time too, until he broke his hand in that fight. And from that point on, you remember he took like a year off, and and after that, you really start seeing him trying to more outbox dudes and pot shot more than committing to his punches. And once he turned to welterweight, everybody was way bigger than him. I mean, that's why when people say why he ain't fight Margarito was 5'11", really a middleweight. Floyd really wasn't even a welterweight. He was a 140-pounder going up there so he can get that bag. Him and Zab Judah was really not welterweights, but they skills and they speed and athleticism made them be able to pull that off and go up and fight all them real and give up all that weight in all them fights that they did. And they was fighting real fighters, and like I say, man, Errol Spence gonna always have a fan base because these dudes ain't like he was. He made it clear he don't fight tune-ups. He wanted to fight best. He wanted to get all the belts, and he tried to. He gave Bud everything he wanted when he was clearly the A side. Didn't get a tune-up, none of that, and jumped in the ring. This is what real fighters, real warriors do. And when the fight was over, he didn't run in the locker room or run out the back of the stadium. He sat right out there, lumped up, and did his post-fight conference. Talked about what happened in the fight. He was clearly disappointed, but he manned up from start to finish, all the way through it. And we just, Lomachenko, same guy. When Lomachenko came over from Russia, he made it clear with Bob Arum. He don't want to fight a bunch of, what a lot of these dudes doing, not just fighting dudes that ain't got no hope in beating them. To be honest with you, I don't even see what this do. I don't see how them kind of fights really help these guys. To be honest with you, when the guys that they sparring with is better than the guys that they fighting. You know, I mean, and that's the truth with a lot of these guys out here right now. The guys they spar with is way tougher than the guys they taking fights and coming on TV and cable or whatever, trying to sell to the fans. Well, that's just why I say people can say what they want. Errol Spence will always have a big fan base. I'll be one of them because one thing you know, if he do fight, he gonna give it all he got, and it ain't gonna be no bum or no cherry on the other side of that ring. It's gonna be a real fight over there, and you gonna be paying getting your money's worth because you finna see a real fight. But that's it for me on this video. If you like the video, hit the like and subscribe. Till the next time, it's your boy Spill Dog. I'm out.